Hello, Henry from Belgium here. Today we are looking at set 4021, Police Patrol, a police boat from 1991. And this is a set with a small story behind it, because this box has been with me for a very long time. Not just a few months, but probably for more than 20 years. I once got it, or found it, during a clearance, and I think it originally came from leftover toy shop stock. One of those boxes that simply stayed in storage somewhere, and eventually ended up on one of my shelves. What makes this set especially interesting to me is that it belongs to the Lego boat sub-theme. That means this is not just a regular town boat that was meant to sit on a blue base plate. This model has a real floating hull. The box itself has that typical early 90s artwork, a blue sea, a city skyline in the background, and the boat shown in several action shots. On the back, you do not get big alternative models, because with a fixed floating hull like this, the options are limited. Instead, you mainly get close-ups of the play features, the details, and of course a child playing with the set. That is always great on these old Lego boxes. They do not just show the model, they also show how Lego wanted you to play with it. Regular viewers will know by now that boats is one of my favorite Lego sub-themes. It is not a huge series, and that is exactly why I enjoy collecting it. With this police patrol, I am now close to completing the full run of 12 sets. When opening the box, the first thing that stands out is the main part of the set, the large black floating hull. This is a hard, solid Lego part in one piece, 31.5 centimeters long. That makes this hull type one of the largest within the boat's theme, and the condition is what makes this moment special. I have never seen this black hull in new condition before. Not a single scratch, no play wear. It is great to take a part like this straight out of an old box. The 3 parts bags are still unopened, in that recognizable old Lego plastic with small holes in it. That is immediately a nice detail, because you can see how a set from this period came out of the box. No numbered bags for each building phase, no modern sorting by stage, just regular parts bags where everything is much more mixed together. If there is any system to it, it is mainly by size. And then there is also this small cardboard box. I can already guess what is inside, because with a floating Lego boat, stability matters. Inside are the 2 red 2x6x2 weight bricks. They are packed separately, and they are not decoration, but a functional part of the boat. Later, these ballast pieces will go inside the hull, so the police patrol gets more stability when it is in the water. The instruction manual immediately shows the age of the box. The paper has developed brown age spots, something you often see with old paper because of time and humidity. There is also a catalog booklet with the Lego sets that were available in 1991. The familiar service leaflet is included as well. With this, you could order specific individual parts back in the day. By itself, it is only a small piece of paper, but it belongs to the full experience of an old Lego box. The original sticker sheet is still here, unused. I like showing it this way because it is not only the front that matters. The back, the print, the paper, and the feel all help you recognize an original sheet. This is not a reproduction. Placing the stickers later will be the real challenge, because on a large hull like this, every crooked sticker is visible. Since the bags are not divided into building phases, there is little point in keeping them separate. Everything goes into the inner box, so the full parts inventory is ready for the build. For collectors, this kind of moment is exactly what makes it interesting. You are not seeing the parts as used loose Lego, but as they have been sitting in the box since 1991. In total, the set has 195 parts. That count includes the large boat hull, the weight bricks, and the parts for the minifigures. So the actual build remains quite straightforward. The focus here is not on a long or complicated construction, but on a large playset built around a real floating hull. Looking at the loose parts, I do not immediately see pieces that stand out as valuable or exclusive. But with this set, that is not the most important thing to me. What I like most is that I can work with new parts that have been sitting in these bags since 1991. The white parts especially stand out. They are still bright white, and that is something I see much less often with used Lego from this period. The manual is a handy A4 booklet with 8 pages, including the front and back cover. Inside, there are 17 clear building steps, with a few smaller clarification steps for specific details. You can also see that these are no longer hand-drawn instructions. The building steps already have that cleaner computer-drawn look. On the back, you get the usual information for this line of boat sets. Lego clearly mentions that the model can be used in water, and that a small motor could be attached. The interesting part is the note saying that this motor was not a Lego product. I remember that from when I was young, because I had one of those recognizable Playmobil motors in white and blue. I start with the 3 minifigures. Here again, you can see how Lego packed things at the time. The heads are already attached to the torsos. Inside the torso, you also see the ribbed version, which replaced the earlier hollow torso around 1983. The heads already have open studs, a change that happened somewhere in the late 80s, but the face is still the classic Lego smile. These are 3 police officers, but not with the older button-style torso print. Here they have the police zipper torso, a print you often see in this period with motorcycle officers and helicopter pilots. They all get a classic police cap, and logically for this theme, also a life jacket. That part had only existed for about a year at the time, and it was a new and popular piece for sets connected to water. The life jackets also make a big difference visually. Without them, these could be regular town police officers, but with the jackets, they immediately become the crew of a real boat. The complete minifigure assembly is also interesting. In this exact form, it has its own catalog number, and besides this set, it only appears in Pier Police. But the best part here is the condition. These are brand new figures that are already more than 35 years old. No scratches, no cracks, and a bright white police cap. This is not a whole that you click together from several separate sections, like some earlier models in the theme. It is one strong piece of plastic, ready to build the rest of the set on. It includes a separate cargo platform. That is an interesting part, because it is not fixed inside the hull. You can decide where to place it, and if you have more than one of these platforms, you can combine those loose sections. In this police patrol, that loose platform will later go at the back. It is not used as cargo space, but as the place to install a motor. The black version of this hull is set exclusive to the police patrol. The same large hull also exists within boats in red for a fireboat, and in blue for a cargo boat. In each case, that color belongs to one specific set. In the hull, a few basic bricks and the first weight brick go into place. Now the loose cargo platform can also be placed. After that, 2 light grey 6x10 plates are added. And that immediately gives me a solid base to build the rest of the boat on. The next thing I do is put together the motor block. This is well thought out, because the second weight brick is used here as the base. It will fit exactly into the cargo space. It is also interesting to know what one of these bricks weighs. On my scale, I can see that it is 52 grams. With 2 weight bricks, that makes 104 grams in total. On that weight brick, slope bricks, hinges and plates are added, with round plates on top. That way, a realistic motor block is created with simple parts. I often see that in Lego from this period, also in race sets and other car-related sets. I also like the playful colors here. The red and yellow will create a clear accent, because the rest of the boat will mainly be white. In 1990, this part was introduced. The string reel 2x2 holder, together with the separate black string reel 2x2 drum. It replaced the older, much bulkier winch that was already used in the 70s, for example in the Yellow Castle. You still have to attach the string to the drum yourself, and that brings me to the only missing part in this box. The original string is no longer here. I only discovered that today because I thought it would still be somewhere in one of the bags. But that is not the case. I also do not know exactly how that string was originally supplied. It was probably packed separately in a small plastic bag. Luckily, over the years I have collected several spare strings in different lengths, and I can use one of those here. Together with the motor block, these are already two clear play features that immediately give you small story ideas. The base of the deck section is built with several white bricks. Because they are new, you can see them shine nicely in the light. Soon, a white storage cabinet with a red door is added. It is a classic Lego part where you can also place drawers, but here it is used to store accessories. Inside goes the yellow air tanks piece for a minifigure. After that, a motorcycle helmet with a visor is added, used here as a diving helmet. Together with the air tanks, you immediately have a full diving outfit on board. That also gives you another small play feature that can easily become part of a story. A nice separate little build is the cover for the motor space. Regular roof pieces without windows could have been used here, but instead the set uses roof pieces with opening windows. That immediately makes it more interesting, because again, there is something you can open and close. The light gray grille tiles also help make this section look more realistic. They are small details, but you can immediately read them as ventilation and light for the engine room. The white Technic bricks with holes are also well chosen here. In this construction, they work nicely as portholes. The build continues with quite a lot of different parts: slope bricks, tail bricks, bars, windows, and corner plates. The two printed bricks with the police logo are also nice. That is always a plus in a set like this. If these had been stickers, they would have become dirty, crooked, or worn much more easily after 35 years. A print simply remains part of the brick. The same goes for the small panels at the back. Those are prints as well, not stickers, and that is a real plus here. What stands out during the build is that for a set from 1991 with 195 parts, there are quite a lot of small details and play features. You get steering wheels, control panels, a lever, a fire extinguisher, a walkie-talkie, and several signal lights. They are small parts, but they make sure the boat does not feel empty. Another interesting thing is that I am building two steering positions. At the front, there is a lower sheltered steering position with a steering wheel and electronics. Above that, there is a second steering position, again with a steering wheel, a lever, and a control panel. For a patrol boat, that is not strange. A lower steering position gives more shelter, while a higher position gives a better view over the water. In Lego form, it is simple, but as a play idea, it works well. I also like how the upper sections are finished in three separate places: the front cabin roof, the roof plate of the upper steering position, and the rear tail section. These small details represent radar systems, lighting, and electronics. They are not big building steps, but together they give the police patrol much more function and presence. I noticed that a red 1x2 plate was missing in the steering cabin, but that has now been added as well. The final step is applying the stickers. I show the original sticker sheet once more in close-up, so you can clearly see what such a sheet looks like. The number code in the bottom right corner is also a nice detail, because small printing details like that help identify the sheet as original. For me, this is always a tense moment. You need to get them straight, but at the same time, you should not keep messing with them. I suspect many children left this job to an older brother or father back in the day, but that was not always a guarantee for success either. You really need a steady hand and one smooth movement. 100% perfection is not something I can do, and it makes no sense to keep trying. If you keep peeling a sticker off and placing it again, you usually only make it worse. The corners start to curl, it does not stick as well anymore, or it can even start to tear. So at some point, you just have to decide. And honestly, I think I did a decent job. It is not perfect, but it looks quite good. For 195 parts, you get a lot of decoration, a lot of play features, and several small stories that immediately come to mind. The color palette also works well. The black and white give the boat a clear police look, while the red and yellow accents add enough contrast. My remarks are not really about mistakes in the design. They are more about things I would have liked to see with a different part selection, or with a little more parts budget. A chair or a coffee cup in the steering cabin would have been nice. And for the open upper steering position, a small roof construction could also have worked well. But what I miss most are a few maintenance tools. The engine room plays a clear role in this set, so a hammer and a wrench would immediately have added another story. They could even have been placed in the open studs of the red bars. At the back there is a rope to pull someone out of the water, but at the front an extra string would also have fitted well, just around that white part, as a suggestion of a mooring rope. Those are small additions, but exactly those kinds of details can make a playset even stronger. As the police patrol stands here, I think it is a clean and well thought out design, and the fact that it can actually float is a real added value. This summer, I will definitely test it in a swimming pool with a motor attached. If you enjoyed this video and would like to see new videos about my collection every Sunday, subscribe to my channel. It is completely free. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.